You're listening to the Golightly Martial Hour on freedomtalkradio.net.
Continuing with the PowerPoint presentation.
You should sit a bit closer because my head looks much larger than yours.
Well, if you moved over, I could do
Sorry
that.
about that.
That's all right.
Now you're closer. Your head still looks smaller than mine. Oh goodness, what's going on here?
Could have been.
All right, carry on.
All right, so what have we got? We've got.
We're finishing off with the distance is 10772.5 miles from the two Padstow addresses. The one in Cornwall is where the tin came from with its Joseph of Arathemaya is still there, and the Tin Men songs are all about Joseph being from Cornwall. So it's 2500 BC the tin started being mined in that area. All right, so we're going on to Charles now. He was beheaded by the dragon, and the word Lord is found in 182 verses of the book of Genesis. Now, Genesis you can't get rid of. It has some truth to it. So we subtract that 1586 of the Torah, and we get 1404. So we've taken 182 of Genesis from the Torah, and we have Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, and Exodus, with a total of 1404 verses with the word Lord in it. That word in Greek is dragon. So, the Torah is totally a construct by the self-chosen Yehudi, the false Jews out of Babylon, and the number 6666, of course, is a Babylonian numbering count system, and that's why De Vere, who was William Shakespeare, and King James, both being divine. Actually, the king anointed De Vere upon the Rock of the Scone in secret, so they both picked up the divine inspiration to do these things. And so we have then the 1586. Greek is select, chosen, self-chosen. Hebrew 1586 is the word completion. So I've got it at the bottom of the screen here. We see the 6666 lords, and then the Deuteronomy 34:11 is the last of that number. So it gives you the 1586. Take away the 182, it gives 1404.
Now, Revelation was written in 96 AD by John on the Isle of Patmos. It was a vision of the end time, and the dragon, that number 1404, stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. Revelation is all about the end time, so it's all about this time now. So what dragon stood before what woman to devour her baby as soon as it was born? Well, the woman was Daphne Golightly Marshall. She had given birth to my half-sister June on August the 18th, 1938. In weeks, 212 weeks, 6 days, all rounded, is 2127, which is the number for Zia in 1 Chronicles 5:13. Once again, the number 2127 crops up, as it does between my youngest daughter and youngest stepdaughter, 2.127 years, and it's also the last four digits of our mobile phone number today. Just a new one. I thought I'd put that bit in. I can't read this.
Well, we have to
flick over the page. Time to move on.
This is a drawing of the Great Pyramid, and it shows the height of the capstone's summit platform, and it's 454.57 feet, which is the time duration between the marriage of my mother to my stepfather, the 20th of July 1934, to the date of conception, the 6th of April 1943, which is 3182 days, which is 454.4/7 weeks. So it's 454 weeks and 4 days, which is 8.712 years, which is 454.57 as a decimal, feet as the height of the pyramid.
Now, Nicole was born November the 2nd, 1977, and Rhiannon Rhiannon is the daughter of Mary Magdalene. She was born December 20th, 1979. My eldest daughter, Tracy Lee, was born May the 4th, 1968. There is 11.626 years between the two. So it's between Tracy Lee and Rhiannon. And her mother I married when I was 1162.6 weeks. So this is Eileen, the harlot from Lithgow, the mother of Tracy. So the Christ was 1162.6 weeks old, 11.626 years between the two girls. The marriage date was April 23rd, 1966. Now, Rhiannon's mother, Michelle, who is Mary Magdalene, was 32.75 years old on Rhiannon's birthday. Michelle, or Mary, is 1162.6 days younger than the Christ. Where Michelle, or Mary, was reborn is 3134 miles to the South Pole, and St. Margaret's maternity, where the Christ was reborn, is 3877 miles to the South Pole. 3877 is the the number of verses that holds the word God. Now, if you subtract the 3137 from the 3877, it leaves 743 and is archangel, a chief angel.
Gabriel.
Yeah. And 3134 is Maranatha, an exclamation of the approaching divine judgment, Maranatha, which is what the Christ is doing on the earth. It's all about his judgment, divine judgment. Not looking too good.
No. I'm not here to convince anybody. You've got no choice in the matter.
Now, of course, the demons know precisely who the Troil line, a new word, who the true royal line is. Therefore, they were waiting. Revelation 12:3, quoting, "And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns."
So we have
upon
toils
his
and
heads.
hymns then.
Yes, we do, totally. So this is the Vatican, the 7 kings from 11th of February 1929 unto the 11th of February 2013, when Pope Benedict announced his retirement, and the 10 tribes of Israel being Europe. That's the 10 horns. Continuing the quote, 12:4, "And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born." So this is this life now. Myself, he's got as the Christ. It's all about now. So the stars with the star Draco cover 1/3 of the stars around Alpha Polaris, the North Star, seen or pointed to from within the altar to the Lord, the descending passage. And Isaiah 19 verses 19 and 20 is confirmation. Now, the cross that formed in space occurred.
Sorry.
On June the 26th, recently, in 2010. That was a lineup of Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter, Uranus, Mercury, and the combined distance was 66.66 astronomical units.
And this is where Andrew came in.
Yes, Andrew found us on that date, the lineup. So now,
And he gave us some money to get to Rome. And without it, we would not have been able to go because we were broke.
he was not asked, he just sent it. He was inspired to send it. Twice, yeah. Yes, which was amazing. So, thank you, Andrew, and Andrea, his lovely wife.
And his children.
And his children, yes. Okay, so we've been through that one. Continuing, and she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. So it's all about himself, the Christ. The third part of heaven is the gathering of all evil souls to the earth for judgment in the future. So this is John's future, the gathering of all evil souls to the earth for judgment. John's vision of 96 AD is future. From the human perspective, priests are on thin ice if they oppose the Pope. A Jesuit sworn to tear out a baby from its mother's womb and smash its head on a wall, which is the Jesuit oath. Now, again, can you see Jesus approving this oath? Jesus said not to swear an oath, quoting Matthew 5:37. We were talking about 5:37 earlier. Nay, let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay. For whatsoever is more than these cometh of evil. So anything more than a yes or a no is evil. Oh, I swear on the Holy Bible. Ray.
Ray, a friend of mine, French scientist, he said he was in court. He was challenging the court over something. I don't know, judge or the court jester said to swear on the Bible. So he took the Bible and he said, fuck the Bible. And the judge was a bit taken back. And he said, well, you said to swear on it.
Okay. Now, just going over. Future vision yet to happen, being the end time. Again, Revelation 12:3, and there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon having 7 heads, that's the Vatican, and 10 horns, that's Europe, and 7 crowns upon his head, that's the Pope Kings, 11th of February 1929 to 11th of February 2013. The third part of heaven is the gathering of souls to the earth for judgment in the future. So we look at 12.5 for the that's Revelation 12:5 for the explanation of what John saw on the Isle of Patmos on April the 5th, 33 AD. It was the anniversary of the resurrection.
Right. Now, woe unto the mothers give suck in the end time. Now, if you go to Iraq and these countries where they're giving birth to babies that are all deformed, this is entirely all to do with the Jews and the Zionists and the Western finance system, all directed by Rothschilds and the Queen of England. They're all part of it. Now, the Queen's been served to get a carcass off the throne. Of course, she won't do that, but she did have the opportunity to refute legally what I said.
Counterclaim.
And she did not mention or any counterclaim because she can't. Well, first off, she's a Satanist and she knows who I am. They've known who I was since I've been born. They even knew the date I was going to be born on because it was my brother's is 8.88 years older than I, and the sun rises to moon rises 888 minutes, etc. And the distance out to the stars 31.68 astronomical units to the visible stars out to Saturn. So they know all about that. There's no doubt that is the case. So now we're talking to the future, and she brought forth a man-child when? January 11th, 1944. The Comforter, God in the flesh,
Brian,
who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. I'll tell you what, you'd be lucky to get anything by your own fruition when I'm in charge, right? Oh, we want independence. Yeah, we'll see about that. You'll do exactly what I'm saying. That's it. We're out of here. So, to rule the nations with a rod of iron, this is after judgment, and her child was cut up into God and to his throne. So he's looking at it in 96 AD, and of course, when the vision is then showing that it's not going to happen for another 1910 years or so, then The vision shows him that the baby that he has seen in the future is drawn back up to heaven to wait it out. The third part of heaven is the gathering of souls to the earth for judgment in the future. Right? So the dragon makes war with the Lamb, which of course is after January the 11th, 1944. Now the following verse was also future. Michael and the archangel battles the dragon and is cast out of heaven, and a warning to the inhabitants of the earth. This is Revelation 12:12. The devil's come down unto you, and that's what it looks like. So we've got the looking from the descending passage of the altar to the Lord in the midst of Egypt, which is Isaiah 19:19, 19:20. It's looking out into space, and if you were to observe it for 24 hours, well, half the time's in the sunlight, then you've got the night time. And this is what it looks like at night. Swirling around. It doesn't change, you only see it at night time.
And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. In brackets, that is mystery, Babylonian, Talmud religion, Judaism. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. In brackets, Jesus' blood means the Torah laws insisted their god Lucifer could not see sin through the blood of a sacrificed lamb. Therefore I, as the lamb, became the last sacrifice for all mankind. Now for atheists, you as well, for one must know the insanity of the enemy. These are the world of the Torah insanity. This is why I said I came to fulfill the law, not change it, as it had to occur to fulfill the prophecy of Isaiah, who worked for me. Continuing, Revelation 12:12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the
Inhabitants
inhabitants of the earth.
of the earth. You're starting to choke up, are you?
I am. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Now, this is in brackets, knowing it was defeated, it had 70 years to set the stage to kill all life. And that's what Fukushima on March the 11th, 2011 was all about. It seems hopeless. Nothing can stop it, but I can. Continuing, verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. That's the Babylonian mystery religion, Torah. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. That means reincarnated to face judgment. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. So that is now on the earth. In brackets, continuing, its last ditch effort is Sodom. Take a look at the world today. Sodom revived. Child sacrificing. plutonium weapons, and every immoral sexual abomination possible. Yet all Christian nations have allowed it to occur.
We just watched the gay marriages has been now allowed right throughout the United States, and each time the law has been passed, there's been a tornado or some destruction.
Floods or destruction. Now, it was Obama who visited the Antichrist Francis at the Vatican in May. All throughout June, this suddenly, it was not expected, suddenly a number of states throughout the USA, in the middle of the USA, condoning, rewriting the marriage laws. Now marriage is between a man and a dog, or a woman and her dog, so be it. So the LBGT agenda being pushed by Obama, because he is all part of it, and his wife. This is Sodom revived.
Bring it on. This is what the revelation is all about.
Yes, this is...
Looking forward to the next move.
As in the days of Noah, all of their the abominations are being practiced. The Presbyterian Church, by a small majority, 51% I believe to 49%, passed, as now it's part of their constitution, that gays can marry within the church, and the gays can also become priests and ministers.
Which
within
church
the
is it?
Presbyterian
All right.
Church.
So now you just take the Presbyterian Church and the people that voted against it form your own church. Right? The other ones are going to be destroyed anyhow. But when you form a new one, you better look at my details, because you can have a problem if you don't. Okay, World War II, nuclear reactors built as bombs to melt down worldwide. So the technology out of the World War II technology began the march towards finally creating all of these nuclear reactors around the world. And in fact, my stepfather, he delivered the first reactor to a place called Lucas Heights because he drove a truck, right? So wherever this thing was built was put on a truck, and he drove it and delivered to Lucas Heights, the only reactor that got in Australia.
Let's back up there to verse 11, because and they overcame him. No, let's clarify all this. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb. That's the blood spilled on the cross, and the resurrection of the Lamb, who is the Christ. And by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death. This has already happened, isn't it?
Yep.
These are the saints, the Essenes, people like myself as Martha. We love not our lives unto death, and we were executed for it. Therefore, so we're all back here as well, watching the judgment, if you like. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. Why the sea? Well, the sea has been decimated. Fukushima. Totally dead, the North Pacific. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
So the Queen owns BP, for example. That's the Deep Horizon disaster, which was, of course, intentional, where they drilled down 22,000 feet into the side of a huge reservoir of high-pressure crude, which has with it all the gases, of course, and they've released all of the oil out to lubricate the Mississippi River, which is up the centre of it is the Madrid fault line, and the idea was to lubricate the two plates that they'd slip past each other. And the Navy, who was all behind all this, they have already drawn at that point the inland sea, something like 300 kilometres wide, all the way up to the coast of Canada, the border of Canada rather, and the Great Lakes. So this was thwarted, and at the same latitude on the other side of the earth in the Canary Islands is Las Palmas. And the idea was that if Las Palmas slides into the sea, and it's already moving and drifting into the sea, it's 6,000 feet high, like 43 cubic billion miles or something, or metres or some huge amount, and that would slide into the sea and send a wave over to America and take out the entire east coast of Canada, the United States, and the northern area of Argentina and so forth, Mexico. So this is what that was all about. So they was trying to destroy the Earth with that. However, we managed with the 2 CIA tunnels, which are over 100 miles long. The doors slammed shut and the pressure of them built up to 19.7 atmospheres,
yeah.
280 odd pounds per square inch, and then the doors blew out. This causes 7,000 mini earthquakes along the Mississippi on either side of the Madrid fault line, and therefore it become crumbled, and therefore you don't have giant plates pushing against each other anymore. Now you've got two soft, crumbly edges of the Mississippi, so that's not going to happen. Now, that was on the internet for a short while, and then the 7,000, because I spoke about it, and then whoop, it's gone, because it was saying it's an act of God, right? So 19.7 is my name, Brian Leonard Marshall. It's also the area of the Earth that means a square mile. It's also the atomic weight of gold, etc. It's also how many times the word Joshua is found in the Old Testament, which is Jesus in Hebrew, 197 verses. It goes on and on and on.
Okay, so King James I finally had the opportunity to get even with the Freemasons who had manipulated Queen Elizabeth I to sign the death warrant for his mother's beheading, Mary Queen of Scots. So Catholics do not read the King James 1611 because the Church of Rome forbids it, and Protestant religions disregard Catholic. The intelligent person, however, covers all religions' unholy works, making one aware of how all mankind has been deceived. For King James, it was easy to realize the Torah as the mystery Babylonian religion, and its diabolical Christian child sacrificing was well known. So this is why the Jews have been kicked out of all of these nations for antiquity. It's always been for the disappearance and the Christian child sacrificing down through history. In fact, James was very interested in the witchcraft practiced by Solomon. Solomon received 666 talents of gold each year from his wives. His wives were descended from Sodom via Lot, and you know the story there. And Solomon had built pagan temples to his wives' gods. Quoting from 1 Kings 10:14, and now the weight of gold that came to Solomon in 1 year was 666 talents of gold. Then you go over to 2 Chronicles 9:13 and Revelation 13:18. It's talking about this, 666 gold again. Now, my eldest daughter, born May the 4th, 1968, to my youngest, so this is a bit of revision here, just hold on. My youngest stepdaughter, born December 20th, 1979, is 11.626 years. Both were born in cities when the duration of sunlight was 888 minutes on their birthdays. So we have 3 ladies all connected by 11626. My daughter's mother, this is Eileen, I married when I was 1162.6 weeks old. My third wife, or de facto, this is Mary Magdalene, who was 1162.6 days younger than I. And then the 2 daughters, 11.626 years apart. And my youngest daughter, 2.127 days, all connected in 1 Chronicles 5:13, quoting, and their brethren of the house of their fathers were Michael and Meshullam and Sheba and Jorai and Yakan and Zia and Heber, 7.
So they total 31106. Divide the 7 names, and you get an average of 4443.7142. Why? There's a close-up of it. The 714 is Isaiah 714, which is the word Emmanuel, spelt with an I, capital I, double M. Right? But the word Emmanuel in the Greek is E double M. Now the E double Emmanuel in Greek, I won't go on too much about it, has a value of 84 in English geometry, as does Marshall. So the total names are 31106. The word God is found in 3877 verses, and in them 4443 occasions is the word God found. So we go 4443 times 7 is 31101. Therefore divide 31106 by 7 and we have 4443 714. This is Isaiah 714. This verse has an English geometry of 1064. 1064 from 1062 is Bakra, a short Bakra, feminine of 1060, the firstling of man or beast, abstractly, a primogenitor, birthright, firstbornling, or firstling. Greek 1064 is the word gastar, of uncertain duration, the stomach, by analogy to matrix, figuratively for gourmand, belly with child, a womb. The 714, therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign, behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call the name Emmanuel, which is Isaiah, spelt with an I, as I said before. Isaiah 7:14 equals Matthew 1:23. Behold, a virgin shall be with child and shall bring forth a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, which being interpreted is God with us. Greek gematria 8880. So you see it all fits together. Its English gematria is 1204. Add the 714 total, gives you 2268. So Hebrew 2268 is Heber, which is found in 1 Chronicles 5:13.
So it's this marvellous circle that begins and ends in the same place.
Right, so it goes through Greek 2268 is the Hebrew origin of the word 3470, which is Isaiah. Okay, so I think if you haven't got it by now, there's no chance for you. You're all doomed. John 12, 38, 39, 40, that the saying of, this is the word Isaiah, but they change it in Greek. Instead of putting bloody Isaiah in, no, they've got to change it. So you dummies might be able to see it. The prophet might be fulfilled, which he spoke, Lord, who hath believed our report, and to whom hath the arm of the Lord been revealed. Therefore they could not believe, because that Isaiah said again, he had blinded their eyes and hardened their hearts, and they should not see with their eyes, nor understand with their heart, and be converted, and I should heal them. We see then the miracles of the pyramids, King's Chamber level of 1 Chronicles 5:13. What are you going to say there?
Well, stopping right there, because Rodney, you know the marvellous work he's been doing with his photo, he's always been shown You in the Clouds and the music.
Yeah.
He has been quoting that verse from Isaiah, I think it's 44:16, over and over and over with the announcement and all of the work that he does, how that everybody's heart. However, Scylla, again, from London, she says, well, you know, it's the Lord hath blinded their eyes and hardened their hearts. So bottom line is what she's saying is, how can they be held to account if it's the Lord that has done this, blinded their eyes? And so...
Is referring to me, Lord? Or
yes, the
well,
Lord from Isaiah.
I didn't do it. Their Lord did it.
The Golightly Martial Hour on freedomtalkradio.net.
Now, the layout of the king's and antechambers are seen here. Who are you talking about here? The ones that's blinded, the evil ones?
Yeah, the ones that are blinded. They
can't see it.
They can't see it, which is the way that you spoke. But, it's because they're evil that they can't see it.
That's right.
That's why you spoke in parables, because the evil ones wouldn't get it.
Right. Now, the layout of the king's and antechamber are seen here, measuring from the grand gallery large step to the far wall is 537 as your number again, 0.0278, add to the coffer distance 286.1. So you see it takes a right turn and goes to the coffer. So we've got the number 537. Remember, I showed you that in the sea, a point from below where I was born, along the 31680 latitude, to Nell Street, which is 5813, to the South Pole, which is the height of the pyramid, That had to happen because the missing capstone is the height of the pyramid with in place 5813 pyramid inches. So therefore, Michelle, who was against me all the way through, come from a family of child molesters. Her mother was a monster. She lived on 666 Main Road, Eltham. The daughter Rhiannon is a monster. Anyone in their right mind would not have tied up with that woman based on that girl alone. She is a complete and utter arsehole. However, the family, all child molesters. It's unbelievable. But 2 little children were born out of it. One was the Alaska, the first one, which is 88.8 years old, my mother, Daphne, when she died. That's how old she would have been, rather, when the baby was born. And then the other child was 8.8888 years old on my 69th birthday. And when she was born, it was 888 weeks after I married my second wife, devil number 2, on the 14th of February.
So it's both of your mothers, Daphne back in Alaska,
yeah,
and then Mary.
Put up with these 2 monsters. If I have to put up with them, then I might as well do something with the numbers, right? And this is what I did, right? So I caused them to be born on certain dates and blah, 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 and all the events in their life, whether it be marriages or whatever the case may be, to the babies being born, to bring these 2 women back to the earth through babies. That's how you get back here. But now, when you add all these numbers up, you get 31168, a 31101, which is the Julian day I was born on. Right? 232, I'll get this right, won't I? You think I'd know by now, wouldn't you?
You do.
24311101 is the Julian day, which is the astronomy programs use Julian days because the Gregorian calendar is insufficient for doing the job. So that's how many verses there are in the King James Bible. 31101. Now I've gone into it in great detail in a little bit. How are we going for time here?
Oh, we're up to 37, so 20 minutes.
Okay, now this is when we was at the pyramid, and you see the numbers here are 1161, 1162 and 1163. So we had a friend with us who bought these tickets.
No, these are the tickets, the entry into the Great Pyramid, the altar to the Lord in the midst of Egypt.
Right.
And this is our first visit. There were 3 of us, and this was the number sequence
Right.
we were handed.
Right.
And the cost of them,
Yeah.
80 Egyptian pounds each.
The cost of them is 80, 80 and 80, so it's 888. Right?
Yeah. So the Bible predicts that when the Lord returns to the earth, he will be rejected. That's from Psalms 118:22, quoting, "The stone which the builders refused is become the head stone of the corner." That's reflected over in Matthew 21:42, and the original word was pyramid, which is where we were that day with
In the Essene
in the Essene.
lectins, it's called, or lessons. There's 96 of them. Now they aren't all. When I haven't looked at them in detail, but the point is, it talks about Jeshu Maria, which is referred to in Romeo and Juliet by Edward de Vere, who was of Shakespeare, and he was making reference to the Essenes because it was the word Jeshu Maria for the word Jesus, as found in the Essene lessons. So he was aware of all that. These are very, very smart men.
Okay, now going back there, that was the heading, was that? Not the heading, the distance. So where my first wife grew up, this is Eileen from Lithgow, 20 Newburgh Street, Lisdale.
We just looked on Google Earth to change the numbers there.
Oh yeah, the street
It's
numbers
probably
have been
2
altered.
Newbeck Street, I
Yeah.
suppose.
So when measuring from there to 114 O'Riordan Street, Mascot, Sydney, Australia, is a distance of 118.22 kilometres, which was the Psalms 118 verse 22 that we just read.
Now, I should also mention that 114 O'Riordan Street has also been changed. It used to be 3 Old Botany Road, right? So my first school was on Botany Road and Gardeners Road. I was conceived on Gardeners Road. I believe from my brother, he told me it was 433 Gardeners Road, but I am a little bit doubtful. I think it was 429. Either way, both says God in the Hebrew. And then I went to school at Botany Road, Botany, where all my relatives, father and mother, went to school. And it's an interesting place because it's also been destroyed. So when they realise these things, next thing they've got to put an expressway through, haven't they, and destroy this old, beautiful old school. The actual school itself was on top of a church. It was quite rare. Now, I built 2 homes in Canada, and this is where the 4443 number comes in. And I was saying before, I just looked on Google Earth this morning, and the house I built at 525 Willow Street in Quesnel has been destroyed. So hello. However, I can prove absolutely by being completely aware of what's in the area, and I have a trap up my sleeve that will show you absolutely that I was there. So these homes are 444.3 kilometres apart. Now, I only use Magellan GPS software. You can get this from Magellan itself. So if you are serious about it and you're a church, you've got to get the Magellan software. You can't use Google Earth. All Google Earth can do is give you the longitude and latitude, and then you can transfer that over to the Magellan software. And it's accurate, dead accurate. They have to be. This is what you fly your planes on, right? This is why they are attempting to destroy the earth. The demons were within the evil races before the flood and were destroyed. Today it is judgment time and the complete destruction of the fallen angels, the demons, because the cross facilitated the Holy Ghost of Jesus to be reborn in the 20th century, and as Yahweh the Father as an important man. So in other words, for me to get here, I had to come down as a man that could die, because my soul was inside the blood. At the cross, the blood drains out and I die. The flesh is dead. The soul isn't. It's taken up. And then in the cross, the soul comes back in, which is also the blood, comes back into the body, and it goes through the outside of the shroud, not from the body out. It goes from the outside of the shroud into the body. That's why there's no pressure points on the shroud itself. If you've got a body that's got rigor mortis and you lay it on the slab, you're going to have the buttocks and the back and the foot of the heel and the back of the head, all those kind of things. But no, you'll see when it comes back in and it's on the shroud of Turin that the head is forward, it's in the position of the cross, and the right leg is bent, the left leg is bent, 1 foot on top of the other. There was actually 2 nails through the feet, one to hold the left foot on, another one through the right foot to hold it to the left foot, and then the 2 holes through the wrists, not through the hands. Now these are on the shroud. So when you look at the shroud, you see that it's speared on the right side. Well, that's because when the body came to life again, the blood flowing into the body came in backwards. It doesn't go in forwards, it goes in backwards as it left. It leaves forward, it comes backwards. Makes sense? Goes into the body and the body is revived and then stands up. The shroud itself has the imprint of the blood, which we've gone through it before, but think about it. It comes in through the outside of the shroud to enliven the body. And that is why there's no pressure points on it whatsoever. And it's all backward. So we have Isaiah 9:6. What's that? 96 AD. We've got the 96th day of the year, which is April the 6th, talking about a future in John on the island of Patmos. He first off mistakes the angel Michael as being myself when it wasn't. It's the angel, and he says, hey, I'm just a fellow servant, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we're looking into the future. Now, Isaiah 9:6 is what it's all about. You take the Isaiah 9:6 in Hebrew, and if you've been watching long enough now, you know that the Hebrew and Greek and the English alphabets all have numbers. So we do the 7th letter of starting from right to left, and you go the 7th, count them all up, and you get 888. 9:6, 96th day of the year, conception. Then we got Isaiah 11:1. Do the same thing. And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. So this is not talking about the Jesus figure, it's talking about January the 11th, 1944. Right? Got to come out of the stem of Jesse. Why? Not Solomon. Solomon and his mother were murderers. She was an adulteress, which is stoning. The husband was sent to the front lines of a battle. David wasn't there himself. He should have been there in the battle himself, leading it, but oh no. He sends out his generals and then tells the general to put the young man who was married to Bathsheba in the front line so he get killed, because she is pregnant with Solomon. Right? So it's not out of Solomon my descent is, the queen is, that she thinks, well, she isn't, but that's what they're trying to perpetuate. She's out of Babylon. Kazar's all mixed in there. So we've got the Great Pyramid, the 454.57 feet, and we've got the distance in time between my conception back in time to my mother being married to Reg, who was not my father. He thought he was betrayed by my mother with my uncle Jack. Now, why would I look like the Marshall side of the family and also the Golightly side of the family? Well, when a woman or a cat or a dog or anything gives birth, the first pregnancy takes on the memory of the first pregnancy. This was proven with Russians who did experiments with long-haired rabbits and short-haired rabbits. The mother had short hair, the father had long hair. Then she mated with a short-haired rabbit, and she still gave birth to long-haired rabbits. Hello. So there's the numbers there you can look at, so it's pretty interesting. 20th of July 1934. Now my mother, because it was illegitimate that my brother was 222 days in the womb at the point of birth after the wedding. So she took the wedding certificate. My brother showed me this as a child because he was a sneak. We went and looked at all my mother's private papers, and she had scratched out July and made it January. Well, my auntie, she wanted to go and play she worked as an entertainer at the Tivoli, which is sort of a large theatrical group in Sydney at the time. And she was a matron of honour, and she played the ukulele. Well, the last thing that my mother wanted was my auntie playing the bloody ukulele at this wedding of my brother to Joan. Joan, incidentally, is 942 days older than me, and my brother 8.88 years older than me. And there was a bit of a scuffle. Sid and Aunt Nancy shows up, and they're in the house, and my father is just about ready to knock out Aunt Nancy, because that's how they were in those days, all punching each other out. And she was going on because she was pissed off that she didn't have the job of being the entertainment for my brother's wedding. And she was making a wisecrack about he was illegitimate anyhow. And I'm listening to this, right? I'm just a child. So, this is what it's all about. Keep your ears open. So, the word God, 666, is Deuteronomy 32:18. Now, I said to you before that the 32:18 in the Greek numbers from 32:1, I think it is, through to 33:2 are all missing out of the Strong's Concordance. So I told you how to do that. Divide the 8624 by the 8674 by the 5624, and it gets you a ratio. And then you can look up 32:18. What it should have been, add the ratio number, so it'll make it say 32, I don't know, whatever, 45 or something. And that would give you the equivalent number that's been returned and missing out of it. So what it is this: the rock that they begat thee are unmindful and has forgotten God that formed thee. There's your little message right there. You've all forgotten God that formed you. The word Lord, the 666, is Leviticus 17:1, shrouded to Ren. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, we see then that the 666 is found in the two dragon abominations. Right? The next slide is our home in Toogoom, Queensland. We are on a lake, a straight line past the isle. That's this thing that's built by this, I think it might have been a golfer with deep pockets, how they say, and built this lovely estate. And he's got a bit of criticism for doing it, to build this lovely thing. He made lots of money on it, good on him, right? But we're living in that house. So we've got the little island outcrop, so it aligns with the south fence lines on both ends of the lake, from west to east heading 12817 degrees. The 1282 is in rounded, it's Hebrew 1282. Now, once I met my wife and I knew I was going to destroy them, my angels arrived on the planets with the red dwarf in Hebrew. There's one thing, but there it is there. Okay.
Which wife?
So this is the distance at 657 metres from that point there past the tip of the island to the left-hand side of the fence out the back here. Right? I won't go into all that, you can stop and look at it. I'm sick and tired of doing it. 1 Chronicles 3:22, and the sons of Shema, now this is interesting, 7935, and its next number is Shemaiah 8098, and the sons of Shemaiah 8098, so it mentions the name twice. So then we've got Hotash 2407, Igiel 3008, Beriah 1282, and Neriah 5294, and Shaphat 8202 for 6. There's not the 7 names there. Actually, one name is mentioned twice. That makes 8 names. So there's a code there. It's a hint. Why did it say 6? Add the 7 names, not 8. One is repeated. So we got 36226/7 equals 5175.1728.
14.
1428, sorry. So that gives us the word bara. Hebrew Dictionary 1282, going back to what we were showing you yesterday. I'll go back to yesterday.
Yeah, 1280. That's a long way back.
Okay, so that's how you got to memorise all these numbers and write them all down and go, so you can go for a reference. So the 1281 goes to shortened Bariaka from 1272, a fugitive. The serpent as fleeing, and the constellations by that name. Levithian, crooked, noble, piercing, which is the dragon. 322 is a lodge number for the skull and bones out of Yale. So now we have them fleeing. 1 Chronicles 322. I'll go back and show you again. See it up there? 1 Chronicles 322. So we end up with a number of 5175, which is a snake from its hiss, a serpent. Genesis 3:1. Now the serpent was more supple than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? Isaiah 27:1. In that day the Lord with his sore and great and strong sword shall punish Levithian, the piercing serpent, even Levithian, the crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea. Isaiah 27:1. Levithian. So we've got the Hebrew Dictionary 3882, and I won't pronounce the name because it's too hard. From 3867, a wreathed animal, a serpent, figuratively the constellation of the dragon, also is symbolic of Babylon. Levithian, morning. So this is Albert Einstein, I won't go through it again, but he was 32 years old and he went to a Catholic school and never learnt one word about Jesus. Who has taken over the Catholic Church, I say to you. And there it is what he said. You can stop and have a read. So the first nuclear power plant went into operation on June the 26th, 1954. We just talked about June 26th. I was 5 weeks and 4 days old. Hello, what number's that? Great Pyramid, 5454. Did they do this intentionally? Of course not. They're just stupid. They don't think of stuff like this. They certainly wouldn't be trying to prove me. However, I prove that's them, that is the dragon, by these numbers that refer to me. And there's the height of the capstone, 554.5 feet. From June the 26th, 1954 until Fukushima, the 11th of March 2011 is 3480 weeks. Now that is the Nazarene. We just had Einstein talking about it, right? There it is, that's why I put it in. Now, I put it in first before I do that. I don't do that, then think, oh shit, I can put, or do that, and then I'll put Einstein in. No, I do that, then Einstein is the same numbers, right? He's talking about the Nazarene. So here we have the two solar eclipses. One is on the 25th of January, just after I was born, and the distance to the house I grew up in for 942 days was the Comforter, whatever it is, I forget.
3875.
That's it. That's the Comforter number to the South Pole, and it's 8888.8 miles to that address. Now there's another one, 942 miles. Hello, what's that number? That's how many days I lived at that address. Or I was that age when we left to go to 3 Old Botany Road in Mascot, and also the age difference between my sister-in-law and myself, 9.42 years older. The age difference between my little darling here and Michelle, 9.42 years, right? And that is Prince Charles' birthday when it's the same date, 11th of November in 2012. So it's identifying Prince Charles. And also, I haven't spoken about it in this, but some of you may remember, I saved a little boy's life by climbing over a fence when I was on the same date in 1948, 11th of November.
2 minutes.
Okay, well, we'll just end this one here and come back to it. And all I got to do is remember how to end it. These programs, it says press F9 to end it. You do it, nothing happens.